What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Week 7 Power Rankings. Man, is the season moving along quickly as it always does. We got another good week of football this week, and without wasting any more time, we're going to get right into it here with the Power Rankings, starting at the bottom with the Oakland Raiders, a new team at the bottom. We've had a lot of new teams rotating at the bottom with all of the parity in the league this year, but the Raiders in London just can't hold their own. They're just awful. Defensively, it's atrocious. It's not like Seattle is some juggernaut on offense that couldn't contain them. And then offensively, they don't have enough firepower. Derek Carr just isn't a quarterback that can carry an offense. So the Raiders taking their spot at the bottom here. And then across the bay, we've got the 49ers at 31 here. An impressive performance in Green Bay, but that's pretty much the best that this team's going to be able to show is just big plays with Marcus Goodwin and creative offense by Kyle Shanahan. But other than that, I don't really see this team winning a whole lot of games for the rest of the year. This reminds me very much of the pre-Jimmy Garoppolo 49ers last year. And then number 30, the Buffalo Bills. Yet again, really good defensive week. They still have the worst offense in the NFL, and it's an offensive league, so that is a problem, but they do play good defense. They almost pulled off the win in Houston this week, but they fall short. And then 29, the Arizona Cardinals. Pretty tough team to watch right now. No identity. Josh Rosen, very much a rookie, but is showing a lot of promise and has sparked the offense a little bit, but the team just doesn't have enough talent. I don't think they're that well coached. They just have a long ways to go. And then the Giants at 28 here, showcasing their flaws on Thursday Night Football. No offensive line, no quarterback. Not a great recipe for success. The defense is just so average, it hurts. Saquon Barkley's fun to watch, but it's about the only good thing going for the Giants right now. And the Bucs staying put at 27, proving yet again good offense, bad defense. Not much else to say about them. Then the Browns are going to take a couple steps back here this week. Really just not able to hang with the Chargers in this game. Offensively, Baker just doesn't have the explosiveness at the moment to keep up with this Chargers offense that just shredded this Browns defense. That isn't bad, but just couldn't get anything going this week. Promising young team, but still a ways to go, obviously. And then 25, we've got the opposite of promise. We've got a dying team here in the Broncos, really. The offense just, whatever. Like, Case Keenum's not the answer. He's probably not a starting caliber quarterback. They got no identity on offense as a whole, and the defense has been surprisingly, average, below average. I thought it was going to be a much better defense than they've had this year. Granted, they played the Rams this week and they hung in there, but this team has just had no spark for almost a month now. And I don't think anyone's really terrified of the Broncos right now. And then we got the Colts at 24. I'm going to keep them probably a few spots higher than you're going to see them. They're very beat up right now, but I don't think those injuries are, permanent. They did get the rookie Darius Leonard back, showing he can make an impact on games, forcing a big fumble in this one. Andrew Luck played pretty well in this game. It doesn't look good in the win-loss column, but this is a team that has really been in every game they've played in, and they've played some tough opponents. I think they will continue to be a tough out, mainly just because of the Andrew Luck factor, but I think the defense is a little underrated as well. Then we got the Dolphins moving up a couple spots, picked up a big win against the Bears. Now, I'm pretty sure Ryan Tannehill's coming back, but do we get a quarterback controversy with Brock Osweiler? I know most of his yards came on catch and run, but the offense hasn't looked anything like what it looked like this week with Ryan Tannehill. I'm sure they'll go back to Tannehill. He's probably the better quarterback, as low as I am on him. But it was good to see this Dolphins pull off a win in a game that, got north of 20 points, and they had to bounce back and really come back in this game. I wasn't sure they had that in them, but a very mentally tough, resilient team for sure. I think Adam Gase is actually a pretty underrated coach right now in the NFL. And then 22, the New York Jets. They're going to get a huge boost here, +7. Probably had them too low last week. And, they just kind of have more of an identity than a lot of these teams right now. They can move the ball with Sam Darnold. They can go vertical. They can run the ball. That offense, it's not great, but they can do some nice things. And then defensively, you've got a pretty solid defense. They don't really have a pass rush, but Jamal Adams, Leonard Williams are total studs. You got some pieces around there. So, it's not anything crazy here, but I think the Jets are pretty solid team, and I think they are going to get into the conversation here for like an AFC wild card. And then we've got the Texans at 21 getting a +2, just barely escaping with a close win at home here. They almost lost this one against the Bills, but the defense, continues to play well. The offense continues to struggle. It's just been kind of more of the same for the Texans. I'm just not really buying into this team right now, though I think they have the upside. They just got to get their act together in a few departments. And then the Seahawks at number 20, really taking care of business in London this week. This is still that tough Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson-led team. They're not going to give up, even if they're outmatched. They almost beat the Rams last week. So a solid team. They'll continue to be a tough out. And then 19, the Jacksonville Jaguars. This team just can't travel. And I tweeted this out. It's kind of a big highlight from this week. And it's not to say that defense doesn't matter in the NFL anymore, but with the parity in this league, with the offenses we're seeing and how innovative these coaches are, defense is a week-to-week game. We saw the Jags defense get shredded this week against a pretty marginal Cowboys offense. We saw the Bears defense that everyone thought was the best defense in the NFL unable to make a tackle in Miami. So it's not that defense doesn't matter. Through the course of a season and the playoffs, I still think it's important to have a good defense. But if you have an offense that simply cannot keep pace with almost anybody in the league because your quarterback is Blake Bortles or you don't have an offensive line, well, simply put, 2018 just isn't the year for you to exist as a National Football League team. And, the Jags will still be tough at home. They can still beat anyone at home, but you got to go on the road and trust Blake Bortles with the crowd against a good pass rush. Hard pass. And then we do have the Cowboys at 18. I've been kind of rising on them the last couple weeks. I thought going back to the Detroit game, they really announced that they're getting some things going offensively. It's not going to be the most explosive offense in the NFL, but they're starting to find that identity with the run game. Good to see them get Cole Beasley involved this week, but this defense very much under the radar. A lot of young playmakers on that side of the ball. So Dallas, stock is definitely rising here. The NFC East, after the conversations last week, was back to the NFC least rhetoric. It's starting to get a little better here. I think Dallas, Washington, and Philly, it's going to start to get interesting here in the next 2 months. But sorry, New York, you're done. 17, Tennessee. I'm sick of talking about this team. I'm sick of watching this team. Say anything good about them, they prove you wrong. Say anything bad about them, they also prove you wrong. I can't get a beat on this team. They're incredibly average. Super inconsistent offensively. I think the defense is still solid, but I don't want to talk about this team anymore. They piss me off. We've got the Bears actually staying put here at 16. The defense struggled on the road, but on the flip side, they were able to show they can move the ball. It's not like that defense after one bad week is just going to disappear. They'll get back to playing good defense. This is a testament of why you don't overreact to 2, 3, 4 games. Last week, everyone was screaming that I'm an idiot for not putting Chicago in the top 10. They go to Miami and lose. People are going to say, how do I not drop them? It's not a week-to-week industry. I think the Bears are very solid. If anything, you might be even more encouraged because they showed yet again they can move the ball offensively, which is my big question about this team. We know they can play defense. And like I said, defense is a game-by-game basis in 2018. And then Detroit ended up here at 15. I don't feel great about this. I don't think any of these teams, 14 through like 22, it's kind of a window there of potential playoff teams. If you want to throw Miami in there, whatever. But this is where, when we talk about all the parity in this league, this is where it's coming from, I think, is the 15, even 14, which is my next team, through 23. It's just 1 week they can be really explosive, and the next week they can be a total stinker. As for Detroit, I think the offense is really solid. I think it's a top 10 to 12 offense. There's a lot of good offenses in the league right now. I don't trust the defense, but they got a lot of playmakers. They're fine. And then 14 is the Atlanta Falcons, who has one of the best offenses and probably the worst defense next to the Raiders. Matt Ryan's doing a really good job there in Atlanta, really stretching the field, been better with the deep ball as of late, been very decisive. So Atlanta's hanging around here. They're probably out of the playoff picture. Just, their record is a little far behind, but they can really hang with anyone just because they can score with anyone. If they can get a turnover, maybe 2 turnovers, they can really beat anyone. So don't let the record fool you with this Atlanta team. You still got to bring it and really play good offense to keep up with the Falcons, especially at home. Then the Panthers coming in here at 13, picking up a loss at Washington, who I have Washington number 12 here. These two teams are very similar caliber teams, and we saw that this weekend. I think if you played this game in Carolina, Carolina probably wins. But there's not much I can really say about the Panthers that I haven't already. As for Washington, continuing to be a resilient team, aggressive defense, get some turnovers early, get out to an early lead, which Alex Smith can protect by playing conservative football. They've got a good formula there in Washington. They're not a powerhouse team, but it's definitely a team that will capitalize on mistakes and make you pay for them, which is more than a lot of teams below them can say. And then at 11, we've got the Cincinnati Bengals as they lose to the Steelers. This was another one last week. Everyone was throwing the records out. Oh, the Bengals are 4-1. The Steelers are, 2-1. How could you possibly rank the Steelers over the Bengals? What, are you living in 2017? Nope. I just know that Big Ben is a really good quarterback and that the Steelers have proven year after year that they're better than the Bengals. Not going to let 3 games change that. Look, the Bengals are a good football team. I was higher on them coming into the year, and of course now I'm lower on them. This is kind of how it goes. I think 11 is a perfectly reasonable spot for them right now. And then number 10, the Baltimore Ravens. Good win in Tennessee this week, showing that good defense, but this is a team that's a week away from losing to the Browns. And I still don't trust that offense. If Tennessee had anything going through the air, I think that game would have looked a lot different. And then at number 9, the Green Bay Packers. Not a good win last night on Monday Night Football. The defense has been just bizarre. They will play really bad defense for one half and then just turn it on for another half. Just look at their box scores. It's ridiculous. Through 6 games, if you mixed and matched certain quarters, you'd get 3 dominant defensive games and 3 of the worst you've ever seen. So they got to figure out how to play consistent defense. And then offensively, it was a concerning night. You see Kyle Shanahan, just one of these new innovative minds, going up against McCarthy, who's doing the same stuff he's been doing for 7 years. That timing route offense with back shoulders and now plays, checks at the line of scrimmage, and a lot of vertical concepts that require chemistry between Rodgers and his receivers. You can see when Randall Cobb and Geronimo Allison go down and you've got these rookie receivers who have a lot of upside and physical ability, but just don't know what they're doing out there. This offense really struggles. And I know Rodgers threw for 400 yards or whatever, but this is not the same looking Packers offense that we've gotten used to over the last really decade. So, those receivers will be back, but I don't really believe in those receivers' talent anyway. But overall, it was an embarrassing night for McCarthy. He got just absolutely outcoached by Kyle Shanahan in that game. Luckily, he's got Rodgers to come in and save the day at the end. But, they've got a lot of looking in the mirror to do this week. And just on that defense, Kentrell Brice, Blake Martinez, open your eyes. These guys are kickoff specialists at best. Get them off the field. They've been starting all year. Next, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers continuing to move up. That offense is really rolling right now. Le'Veon Bell's coming back. Look out for the Steelers. Even the defense is starting to play much better. And then the Vikes, as we get into the top 7 here, not a whole lot of movement in the top 7 this week. But taking care of business against the Cardinals. The offense continuing to impress. Defense played better this week. Now, I still kind of question this team's ceiling without Everson Griffin, and no idea what's going on there. Your guess is as good as mine. When he comes back, if he comes back, this is still a team that is going to win by playing really good defense. As great as Kirk Cousins and these receivers have been, I don't know how much I trust this team with how bad that offensive line is. but still a really tough, good team regardless. And then number 6, the Philadelphia Eagles, starting to get humming a little bit here. Statement win on Thursday night, just blowing out the Giants, just kind of telling everyone, don't forget about us. We still might have the best roster in the NFL, and our quarterback's pretty good. He should have been the MVP last year. They're doing some really impressive things with Alshon Jeffrey as well, which is something I don't think they really did last year, was really get him going, because he is the biggest threat on that offense. And then the Chargers, staying put at number 5. We've kind of stayed the course with the Chargers this year, and I think those dividends are about to pay off, because you're going to get Joey Bosa back here real soon, but even without him, this team is rolling right now. Offensively, they're a machine. Defensively, they're really solid, but getting Bosa in there is just going to spark it, I think, into a top 10 or so defense. So Chargers making things interesting. The Chiefs pick up a loss this week. They're just a game out of that division. The AFC is kind of watered down. This was my AFC champion pick before the year started, so I think the next month is going to be very telling for this Chargers team. Then we got the Patriots staying at number 4. Wait, they beat the Chiefs. How are you going to rank them below the Chiefs? Look, it was in Foxborough. Justin Houston didn't play. The Patriots are back. I'm ranking them in the top 4. Just chill. Still don't trust this team's defense, but I do trust Tom Brady. I trust Bill Belichick. This was a huge win for them on Sunday night. And I really think, 4 through 1, we're talking about minute differences, like a half-point differential between these top 4 teams. So I really don't want anyone to freak out about any of these in the top 4, because there's very little between these teams. These are the clear 4 best teams in the NFL, in my opinion. But the Saints are going to stay put at number 3 with the bye week this week. And then the Chiefs are actually going to stay put at number 2. On one hand, yes, they lost. It happens when you have to play in Foxborough on Sunday night against the Patriots. Let's not overreact. This is still probably the best offense in the NFL, one of the most explosive offenses potentially in NFL history. I know it's only been 6 weeks, but I mean, the playmakers, the play calling, the quarterback, the running game, you got to play lights out offensively to keep pace with these guys. And no Justin Houston this week. Dee Ford continued to make an impact this week. I'm kind of done guessing when or if Eric Berry's going to come back, but I still believe in the Chiefs. And then number 1, the Rams. Nothing changing there. Just a juggernaut right now. So that's going to do it for the rankings this week. Looking forward to hearing from you guys in the comments. Hit that like button if you enjoyed. Cheers as always. We'll see you next time.